All right, folks, we're gonna get started here in a few. Just going through some housekeeping items before we get started here. Want to make sure that you can all hear me. If you were able to hear the music, most likely you can hear me. So just some confirmation there. Make sure I got my mic set up correctly. All right, perfect. All right, so today's topic here in session 3, we're going to be covering ParentSquare conference scheduling and calendaring. So excited to share all about the appointment signups add-on and the calendar events in ParentSquare. Before we start, I want to make sure that everyone joins this Slido session so you can type in the Q&A, any questions you have during the session. We don't want to overwhelm our host by having them type their questions in the Teams chat. I know this is a different format we're using here today with all of you. So I encourage you to join this Slido session. Open a tab in your Chrome browser, go to slido.com. It's going to ask you for a code, which you're going to enter. Actually, sorry, it's going to be 997. 997. I apologize. You're going to have this code here down during the entire session, so you remember to join, and then you can just go to the Q&A up here in the top. Okay, so just to share with you our lovely EdTech team here, and let me just go ahead and mute that participant. Okay, here with you, I'm going to be presenting. My name is Angela Gama. I'm an instructional technology trainer here for Modesto City Schools, so maybe you're already familiar with me. So any questions you have after today, you can always reach out, or if you need to go ahead and schedule some trainings, follow-up questions, you can also contact me for any of that. What we got in our session going on in our agenda, we're going to first take a look at our appointment signups overview. We're going to go ahead and then learn of how we can create these parent-teacher conferences in ParentSquare. So hopefully at the end of the session today, you'll be ready to go to have those created for when that time comes. I know it's coming around the corner, so get ready for that. We're going to see the parent perspective, what steps they need to take to sign up in the appointment slots that you're going to create. And then we're going to switch gears and take a look at the calendar events inside of ParentSquare. We're going to look at the add-on and as well as the calendar itself, how to manage, how to create events in there for everyone to be in the know of what's going on at your school, in your classroom, or in your groups. And then at the end, I'll have some hands-on time if you like to play with it a little bit more. Of course, this is if we have some spare time. There's a lot for me to go through, so hopefully we get a little bit of time. And as I go through this the session, I'm going to pause after some of these topics to take a look at the Q&A and address some of those questions live. So if I don't get to your question, I will go ahead and send a follow-up email. We'll make sure that we build a Q&A or a FAQ page in our ParentSquare help page in mcsforkids.com. As always, we like to align with our instructional core, and the element that we focus in using ParentSquare is the supporting all learners. We want to intentionally plan lessons with consideration for strategies, scaffolds, and interventions that create equitable learning opportunities for all students. Okie doke, let's go ahead and take a look at our first topic here, appointment signups overview. What are appointment signups in ParentSquare? Well, it is an amazing feature in ParentSquare that makes online conference signups easy to set up. And this is something that you can do in less than 5 minutes. And the best part of it all is that there's no paper involved. There's no need to print anything here. It's all digital in our communication apps platform. You can also indicate as you're creating these sign-up conferences that there's a resource available. For instance, if you want to make appointment slots where you indicate that there's a Spanish interpreter available, you can indicate that there. Or if there's a counselor, you can indicate it there. So parents or users can sign up for the time slot where the resources are available to meet their needs. So that's super important that you can have that available there. Additionally, you can also prioritize some appointment slots for certain families. For instance, if you know that a parent can only make it during a specific time because they had previously communicated this with you, you can manually assign those parents to those time slots. Or if there's a resource that you need to have, you can go ahead and sign those parents up whenever that resource is available. We'll take a look at how we can do all of this in our session. Now, some ideas of what you can use appointment signups for. Of course, our main focus here today is the parent-teacher conferences, but here are some other ideas that you can use the appointment signups add-on in ParentSquare whenever you need. So we got some pickups and deliveries, counseling appointments, a community closet, some athlete physicals, some family outreach, teacher mentoring, etc. Really, you can use appointment signups whenever there's a time slot involved and you need someone to sign up for that time slot. So there's a lot of other ways that you can use this appointment signups in ParentSquare, not only for parent-teacher conferences. All right, who has the ability of creating posts with appointment signups or these parent-teacher conferences? Really, anyone in ParentSquare with the ability to post. So everyone gets to do appointment signups in ParentSquare. You don't necessarily need a classroom tied to your account to create them. And those of you that have admin rights in a specific department, you can go ahead and post as that department. So just to kind of make it clear that not everyone has this feature, this is only for those that have admin rights to departments, all right? So these are some examples of when you may use something like that. So if you want to send something about vaccinations, maybe you want to post something as the nursing department or something like that, not necessarily as you. So this is a generic message. All right, are we ready? Let's go ahead and learn how we can create these parent conferences in ParentSquare. Now, the first step that we need to kind of like think about before we go into ParentSquare and set everything up is to gather the details for this appointment slots. So who is this post or these appointment slots going to be available for to sign up? So if you have a specific class, that would be your audience. Or if you have multiple classes or a group, or if it's something open for the entire school, then that would be your audience. For parent-teacher conferences, you will make one for each individual class. Here, I'm going to use this ParentSquare training group as an example. Then you have to think of the date of your appointments. When are you going to meet with them, or when are these appointments going to happen? for my example, I'm gonna set it up for November 14th, sorry. And what is the start time and end time for my appointments? So I'm gonna start my conferences from 3 p.m. and they're gonna run all the way down to 7 p.m. at night. Then another factor that we need to think about is the duration of our appointments. So for my parent teacher, I'm going to use 10 minutes for each appointment. And what's really cool is that I can set up breaks between my appointments. This is awesome, so I don't run behind in case one of the meetings runs a little bit past the allotted time. I can go ahead and create that buffer between appointments so I can be on schedule. Or if I need to, go to the restroom or just, kind of get ready for the next meeting. That's also super cool to have here. Now, I have this really cool graphic. As always, we want to grab our parents' attention as they're scrolling through ParentSquare. Having something like this will grab their attention and make sure that they don't miss out on your post. So if you like to have something like this, you can build it using Canva or any of our other graphic design tools for you to have in your post. All right, so in this session, I'd like you to follow along if you can. If not, you can play with it afterwards. I'm going to share this PowerPoint with all of you, and we have some step-by-step instructions in case you run a little bit behind. I want to keep a pretty moderate pace so I can go through all the content I have here for you. And we'll have also the recording so you can relive the magic. You can go back and watch some of the steps that you were missing or you need to go through again. And for today's session, I created a ParentSquare training group and I already added you to it. So when we create our example here, you can post to this training group without worrying to have your actual class see any of the posts that we'll be creating here today. Okay, so now it would be a great time if you could log into your ParentSquare account. We want to go through our MCS app portal and find our ParentSquare tile there and log in. And you don't need necessarily to go into the group. I just want to kind of show here what the name of the group will be. Once we go into creating our appointment signups, you can select the ParentSquare training group as your audience. So I'll pause here for a couple of minutes, give you some time to log into your ParentSquare account. If you are not part of the group, if I somehow missed you, you can still follow along, go through the steps of creating an appointment sign up type of post, but just save it as a draft or just discard the post at the end of our training. So just don't go through actually publishing it because you'll have to select who you want to share it with. And since you don't have like a playground or, a group that won't actually think that it's an official sign up, just discard it. But hopefully you're part of the training group. I try to enroll everyone who was enrolled in this group here today. So hopefully there's just a couple out there that didn't make the group. All right, how are we doing? Let me know if you need a little bit more time. If not, I think we are ready to continue. with our training. Okay, just one more time, a reminder for our Q&A. Make sure that you join slido.com with the code here. Post any questions you have as I go through the steps, all right? Okay, so let's get started with our appointment signups here. So I am in my ParentSquare account, and I want to make sure that I go to posts here on the left-hand side. I want to make sure that this is highlighted. And here I have the new post button, and next to it, there is a drop-down arrow. If I click on it, I will see the appointment signups option. So this is the first step. The first step is to go to this new post button and go to appointment signups. Okay, this is what's going to generate that feature in ParentSquare. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Follow along if you can. If not, that's fine. So I have some comments about not having that option. Go home, go to the main home page, and then go to post, and then go to the drop down here, appointment signups. If you still don't see this option, you can always send a ticket to help desk to see why we're not seeing this. And also I want to share, like, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time troubleshooting, not because I don't want to help you, but I do want to go through the entire content here today. So if you have issues with that, just email help desk and they'll assign those tickets to the EdTech department and we can take care of them for you. Okay, so coming back to this appointment sign-up screen, remember the details we gathered for our appointment signups. This is where we add them to ParentSquare. So first, I'm going to select the date for my appointments. So I'm going to go through this mini calendar and pick the date that I need to have my parent-teacher conferences appointments. There it is. And in ParentSquare, you can add multiple days. So if you're holding your appointments 2 days, you can go ahead and add another day by clicking on this option and then selecting the next day. Or, you know, not necessarily the next day, but like the other day that you're having the appointments. So you can add multiple days here in ParentSquare. So I'm going to do 14 and 15 for this example here. The next thing I need to set in ParentSquare is the start time. So when are these appointments starting in the day? When the first appointment will start. So I specified in my little graphic there that I'm going to start at 3 p.m. And what will be the end time? When the last appointment will end, I'm going to give it until like 7 p.m. So that's the time frame that I'll be holding the appointments. This option here will create an intermission for my appointments. So if I want to break up my time that I'm meeting with parents to 2 sets of appointments, I can set some time for me, for instance, to have dinner or just to have a little break between 2 groups of appointments. So this is where you specify that break time for you to have between your 2 sets of appointments in one day. Okay, I'm going to just uncheck this because I don't want to recess in my parent-teacher conferences day. Now here I'm going to set what the duration is for each one of my appointments. So I'm going to set a 10-minute appointment, and I said that I wanted a 5-minute break between my appointments. Right, I see I have some questions. I'm going to address those questions here in a bit. I'm going to explain that part. So we have the option of hiding names of users who sign up just to keep some confidentiality for your parents. You, however, as the author of the post, will be able to see each and every one of the names that's of those that signed up. So this is optional if you want to hide or leave them visible for others to see them. Now, this is a feature or an option that I highly recommend you check if you're doing parent-teacher conferences. This will limit only one appointment per user across all time slots. So this is going to keep parents from signing up for multiple time slots for your day. For instance, if a parent thinks that they want 30 minutes instead of just 10 minutes, they will probably sign up for 3 of the appointment slots. No, let's not have that problem by checking this box, and that will only allow users to sign up for just 1 appointment slot, okay? And this is for all days. So across all days, they will only be able to sign up once. So if you want your parents to sign up once per day, then we need to create appointment slots per day, not in the same post. I hope that was clear. Then we're going to go next to continue setting these up. And this is where you personalize the sign up slot time. So what will parents see for each time slot next to it, the description of it? This is going to be what you're going to include here. So appointment time slot it's not pretty clear. So I'm just going to replace that and say meeting with Miss Gama. So that way they know what's happening during that time. We have some examples here of what else you can put there depending on the reason of your appointment. Now, this other option here says available spots in appointment slot. This is different than the one that we talked about a minute ago about limiting users 1 appointment slot. This is going to open more room for families to be together in the same appointment slot. So if you have, for instance, Chromebook pickup, let's use that as an example. If you are wanting to do Chromebook pickups, maybe you want to allow 10 families to come and pick up their Chromebooks in a half an hour time slot. That's when you would specify here, oh, for that time slot, I'll only allow 10 or 5 or 8. For parent-teacher conferences, because you want a private meeting with families, you're going to set this one as 1. Now, we have questions about having, multiple days, and I want the start and end time to be different for each day. This is where you customize that. So here I have my both days, Monday, Tuesday. Let's say I want to start Tuesday at 4. I can go ahead and delete these time slots for Tuesday so that I start that day until 4. Same time for the end or anything in between. So if I know I'm going to meet with teachers here for coffee, I can remove this time slot here, give me some break between appointments so I can, have lunch, have dinner, meet with peers, take down notes, anything you feel that you need between your appointments. So you can go ahead and customize each one of your days by removing those time slots that you don't want to have in those days. All right, so now that you removed those times that you don't want, I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And now my next step is to draft my post, my message to my parents. And this, if you've already worked in Post and ParentSquare may be very familiar. So here I'm going to select my audience, my class, my group, and for today, I mentioned we can use the ParentSquare training group, Angela. So this is where you can type those, those letters to find my group, ParentSquare training group, Angela, so you're not posting to your actual class or, official groups. Now, who should see this? If you're a junior high school teacher, you may want to uncheck your students because you don't want your students signing up for these appointments or your parent-teacher conferences, right? You want to have your parents see them. Maybe you want your staff to see it. They know they shouldn't register or, sign up for any of the appointment slots, but you want them to see them. It's up to you if you want to leave this check or uncheck. I'm going to leave staff checked in this example so all of you can see it for, today's training purposes. Now here in the subject, this is where, you include what your message is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and type in parent-teacher conferences. Make sure you sign up. Whenever there is an action item for my parents to do, I always suggest to include it in the subject line so they know, you're expecting something from them. Maybe you want to do action needed or please sign up, open the post to sign up, whatever it is that you feel that will make your parents, go in and sign up, go ahead and, type it in the subject line. Now here we see some default message from ParentSquare for whenever you do an appointment signups. We have please view the sign up list and find a convenient time for us to meet. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you, everyone. Now, you may want to leave this, you may want to delete it and do a message of your own. I will go ahead and grab a message I have ready to go here, and I'll paste it in our ParentSquare post body. So I'm going to format this so it's super easy to read for my parents and clear. I want to emphasize on specific parts of my post. So I'm going to make this bold, and I can go to my formatting tools and make it bigger so parents make sure that they see this. I'm going to change the font. Make sure that your post stands out using the formatting tools here. And if you want to learn more about that, I recommend going through the Level Up Your Post sessions. I had a graphic I wanted to include, so I'm going to go and add that here with the insert image. And I'll pick my graphic. There we go. As always, I recommend including the details of your message in the actual body. Even though I created this graphic to grab my audience's attention, I still include the details in the body of my message. Why? Well, if I put the details here, my message will automatically be translated for families who picked a different language as their preferred language. And I want to also be ADA compliant. So those users that use screen readers will be able to know what my message is all about because I actually wrote that in the message here. Okay, so make sure that you include all of that here in your message. Now, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down, and I see that I have here all my appointment slots. I can go ahead and see that I have my individual descriptions here, meeting with Ms. Gama, and then the start time, end time, and the amount that I'm going to allow to sign up for that time. Now, this is a great opportunity to specify if you have resources available so families know when to or what times they can pick. So if I know a Spanish interpreter will be with me from 4 to 5, I may want to add that in the time slots that fit in that time slot. So in that time, so I can go ahead and indicate that here. Spanish interpreter, I'm going to copy this and paste that in my other appointment slots here. If you have a counselor, I'm going to have one here. Counselor available. You know, you go ahead and customize your appointment slots, knowing what resources you have. Now, another neat thing that you can do is modify the start time and end time. So I know when there's a Spanish interpreter involved, meetings take much longer from the back and forth, right, with the interpreter. Well, I'm going to give this appointment slot a little bit more time to make sure that I go through everything, including the translation piece. So now maybe I want to do some modifications here. This is going to be from 425 through 445, and I'm going to remove this one here, or things like that, right? You can adjust the times for specific slots. Now, another case where you may want to adjust the times, you may have a parent with 2 students in your class, right? That you may want to have additional time to cover, you know, the second students. So you may want to kind of communicate with that parent and see when they're available to make sure that you give that parent enough time and adjust the rest of your appointment slots. Unfortunately, there's not a way for overriding that limit 1 appointment slot per user after you set this up. So that would be a workaround for those type of scenarios. Now, even here, you can see, as you saw, I removed an appointment slot. You can remove as many as you like, as we did in the previous screens, and you can add more. So if I took a good chunk of time here because I adjusted these, I may want to add a custom time so I don't have to mess with any of these appointment slots. So I can say, okay, I removed some time here. I'm going to give some extra time at the end of my day. So I can go ahead and add an additional one or couple if you think that you may need them. So just make sure that you specify here 7:15. Oh, and then in the PM, not the AM. And then I'll do 7:25 PM and then PM I said. And then I can go ahead and add the amount of families that will be able to sign up here. All right, and then I have here each day separately, so I can do the same for my next day. And additionally, you can include another day if you happen to need one more than the ones you originally set up, or you can remove that second, third, fourth day if you think you may need to remove. So you can adjust, you know, your appointment slots in this area here before you post your message. All right. Now, once you're done, you can scroll up and see some options here. I can go ahead and preview my message. So let's go ahead and take a look at how it looks once it's done. Make sure that everything looks right. I'll have my graphic, my date and time stand out. I have my appointment slots here with my resources specified in each one, and it looks real good. So now we have some options for me to post. Like any post, you have some notification options here. You can send at the user preferred time. So if they have instant, they'll see it right away. Or if they select a digest, they'll see it at the end of the day in a summary they get from ParentSquare. You can override the digest setting and send it instantly. So this is like more urgent matter. I want everyone to see it now. I don't want them to wait until the end of the day. And you also have the do not notify. This is if you don't want to, bug your parents with any type of notifications, you can select this. For parent-teacher conferences, I don't recommend it. I do want to kind of like say, hey, please check your ParentSquare. I posted some of the parent-teacher conferences signups so you can get your appointments in. For today's training purposes, I'm going to select do not notify so I don't have all of you get notifications for this post I'm about to publish. But before I post, I have the drop down arrow here where you can post now. You can schedule this for a future date. So if you're getting ready for your parent-teacher conferences, week or day, you can do this ahead of time and schedule it to go out whenever you want. You can save this as a draft. So if you're not quite ready to go, but you did a good chunk of work here today, you can save it as draft and tweak it later on, add your graphic, add some additional details, and then post it whenever you're done with it. And we see again our preview option here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and post it so you all see it in that group. If you are, also working on an appointment sign up, you can post it to this group so you see what it looks like as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at our Q&As here. See, some of these I probably already addressed live. Here, this one I already did. This is going to give you a little bit of time to finish up as I go through here. Okay, can you send the appointment to only one parent? For instance, for an IEP meeting, I'm only trying to schedule a meeting with one parent at a time. For that purpose, I recommend doing it using a separate tool. I think ParentSquare, if you just want to find a date and time that works for you and that other parent, maybe we want to explore a different, tool rather than doing ParentSquare. As you saw, you can post to a class, a group, your entire school, but there's no way to only send it to a specific parent. Unfortunately, there's no way to do it that way. We can set up multiple days. So this is already responded. Here, this is kind of similar. You can customize the start and end time for each one of the days. How do you find your draft? If you go to your ParentSquare homepage, you will see under post here, scheduled and draft post. This is where you come and see all your drafts. You can click on the name of the draft or the subject line, and you can continue working on it. So in post, you'll see under that scheduled and draft posts. So that one's done. Comment section for parent when they sign up for a time slot. I'll talk about this in a little bit. Set up to do AM conferences before school and after school on the same day. Yes, you can. You can set up, let's say, 7, and then probably the last appointment will be, I don't know, 7 p.m. And then you can delete all the ones you don't want for those both times. You got your AM, your PM, and you can delete the ones in between. Oh, my mouse disappeared here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to address this later. Let me make sure I go through here. The draft message, when you access your drafts, you can hit the trash can next to that message you want to delete. We'll talk about this in a sec here. have multiple parents on ParentSquare, will they both be able to sign up, or will it stop the second parent because from that single student? That's a great question. And the answer is no. As you saw, it limits one user, not ParentSquare will not know, oh, that's the dad who's now trying to sign up and the mom already signed up. No, the other parent will be able to sign up even though the first parent did already. So make sure that you send that in your post to know that parents should only sign up for one appointment slot, regardless of who it is. All right, let's go on and talk about the notifications sent. So how do we alert parents that this post is available and ready for them to sign up for? So as any post, when you create it, users will receive either an email, a message, or the app notification, depending on the user settings. And when will they get it also depends on the user settings. It's probably immediately if they select the instant, or in the evening if they select digest. This is an example of those notifications sent for the signups. So they will have the subject line, the message, and they will have a button to view the sign up list, or they can click here or here to go and see the appointment slots and sign up for the one that meets or fits their schedule. This is what a text notification looks like. So they will also see the subject of the message, and they will have a link to open up that post and go through the process of signing up for that appointment slot that they pick. Now, they will also receive a sign up request the next day. So automatically, ParentSquare will get the notification the next day if there are time slots still open. So if that first day everyone went to your post and signed up for all the appointment slots, this second notification will not happen. But if there are still open slots, they will get that second notification. And when they will get it, it will be the following day at 7 p.m. Now, there will also be some reminders. I believe that was one of the questions in the Q&A. This ParentSquare will automatically send a reminder before the event. So it'll be sent the day before at 8 a.m. and it'll be something like this. It'll include that subject line and it'll indicate what they signed up for. So it'll say you signed up for meeting with Ms. Gama. It'll be in the example we just did here. And then it'll give them the date and the time of the appointment slot that they selected, and they will be able to go to the post if they want to know a little bit more about the sign up that they received the reminder for. Now you, as the post author, will get an activity log. You will get this activity log 24 hours after you set up that post, and it'll give you all the information about the appointment slot and who signed up for each one of them. You will get every 24 hours this activity log if there's any new signups. So that's the nice thing, that you only get updated with anything new happening, and you won't get a bunch of activity logs that are the same, like no one signed up the next day. Or, you know, if you have this post for 2 weeks before the event, you don't want to get one each day if they're all been filled in, you know, and you just get the same report over and over again. So this is a really nice thing to have as the post author. In those activity logs, you can see who signed up and any comments that parents added to whenever they signed up for that appointment. All right, we talked about how we can, set up some priority time slots for some families, whether it is because they need a translator present and you know that a translator will be available during a specific time and you want them to get in, or if there's certain special education students and you know that a support teacher will be present, or a resource that they need. You can also sign up those parents that have told you what time they prefer and that you said, okay, I'll make sure that you get that appointment slot. Then you can go ahead and manually add those parents to those appointment slots. So under each one of the buttons to sign up, you will see the add someone. This is for you to manually add those parents. So I can go ahead and click on add someone. You'll get a pop-up where you will have the list of all the students that belong to the class or the group that you send this post to. You can search for a specific name using this field here, which will make it a lot easier and faster. And then once you get the result and see the parent that you like to sign up, you can just click on them so that it's highlighted in green, and you have the option of adding notes. So this is a great opportunity to indicate if any resources are needed, translators, anything that will help you prepare for the meeting. This is where you can add it. And then once you're done here, you click add, and then you will see that that parent or user will be in that time slot, and you'll see the note for that parent or user you just added. Now, when you do your appointment signups, you can also close the appointment signups so that parents no longer are able to sign up for them. This is if you just want to pause the signups and kind of review, make sure that certain parents that need the resources are signing up for those appointment slots. If you want to make any changes and kind of block users from signing up for anything, you can go ahead and disable it for, a period of time and then open it back up so parents can continue signing up. If you want to make any changes, add more time slots or change the description and make sure that no one is trying to sign up for something that you need to modify, you can use this disable option for that as well. So please note that when you click disable, if you have multiple days, it'll ask you, hey, do you want to disable for this date only or all signups you have in this post? So remember, I had November 14th and 15th in this same post. That will be this disable all signups for both. It doesn't mean all signups in your account, just for this post specifically. Now, one thing you need to know is that when you click this disable option and you confirm it, parents can still delete their sign up, but they won't be able to sign up for something new or a new time slot because you have this disabled. You need to enable it, which is coming back to the same option, and it'll just say enable to open it back again so parents can continue to sign up. So just be aware that if that happens, if a parent happens to cancel as you have it disabled, just follow up with them and make sure that they're needing, if they're needing a new slot, that they register for it, or if you want to manually add them. You will get an email for parents that cancel appointments, but you won't get emails for parents that sign up. You will get that activity log for that purpose. Now, if you need to manually adjust who is signed up, maybe you want to, cancel a sign up for a parent or move them to a different time slot, You can go ahead and delete them or cancel them by mousing over that appointment slot and the name of that parent. You will see this trash can next to it, and you can go ahead and remove that user. And parents can do the same if they need to cancel something. They will go ahead and hit that trash can once they find their sign up in that post. So after you publish your post, what are my options available? We have here the edit option, and this is great if you need to make any modifications to the post. So you can make changes to the message of the post, but also you can make changes to the appointments slots themselves. So if you want to add more descriptors or any resources that opened up and you want to include them in the appointment slots, you can change the times. Just like we saw when we were first creating them, it'll be exactly the same. You can remove dates, you can remove appointment slots, you can add, you can adjust, anything in between. You can do all of that. But just note that if you happen to delete an appointment when someone has already signed up for it, it will remove them, and you will then have to make sure that that parent gets a new appointment slot in the ones that are available. So just be clear that this is something that happens if you happen to delete something when someone is already signed up for it. Now, you can also manage admins. This is a great place for you to add a co-teacher, or if you created this appointment signups for a teacher, you may want to add that teacher so they can see who signed up. This is only adding that teacher to that specific post, not to your classroom, not to your group. It's just for that post signups, okay? And then down below here, we see a cool option to message only those that signed up for your parent-teacher conferences or any event that you're requesting signups for. So it looks as if you're messaging volunteers. So the option here is not super clear or applicable in a way for appointment signups for parent-teacher conferences, but this is the equivalent of sending a message for those parents that signed up, okay? They will get that message, and that will also be added as a public comment to the original post. You can also see here that we have the option of hiding names if you happen to need to hide those names or unhide them if that's the setting that you had on initially. All right, so let's see if we have any questions about this part. Comment sections, yes, I'm gonna talk about that. Can you put parents in yourself? Yes, we saw that just now. Many parents have multiple parents on ParentSquare. Yep, I already talked about that. Oh, this is after you publish that post, you will be able to access the post and start adding parents yourself, okay? If you manually add a parent, can you only add one parent or multiple for one time? So this is depending on the settings you have. If you just limit it to one, you as a teacher cannot override that. So it will only allow you to add how many families you're allowing for that appointment slot. If we hide the name, or wait, okay, if we hide the names, the teacher will still be able to see who signed up for that times. Yes, you can see those names as the post author. Just other parents can see them. All right, let's see the parent perspective, how easy it is for parents to sign up for these appointment slots. So as you publish the post, this is what parents will see using the mobile app. they will have to go into the post, and then they will see here at the top of the post this appointment signups tool that gets enabled when you create those appointment signups. They will tap on it and they will see all the appointments available, and it's just a matter of them finding the correct one, if it's a resource they're looking for or a time that fits their schedule. They just need to make sure that it's open and just tap on that specific time slot. Here, they have the opportunity of writing a note for you. Now, this is a great opportunity for parents to type in if they need a Spanish interpreter, if they need additional resources for when they meet with you. And another idea for using this note area is that if you're not familiar with your students' parents' names, have them indicate here the name of their student and make sure that you hide the names if you do that. This is going to be great for you to know, oh, I'm meeting with Maria Fernandez, but I don't know whose mom that is, right? So they can type in here the name of their student and you can know whose mom that is, right? Now you need to indicate that in your post so parents know to do this, but that would be a great idea to use this notes area. Now, if you do that, we do want to keep our students' privacy, so you will have to select the hide names feature so that parents can't see other students' parents or names and notes here. So just a thought there of how we can use this notes area in our appointment signups. And then once you're done, they just go here to the top right corner of their mobile app and select save, and then they are good to go. Now, as far as parents' instructions, we do have available instructions for them in Spanish and in English of how to do this in the mobile app and the web portal. So principals or teachers can share them with parents so they know how to go through this entire process. All righty. Let's see, do we have any questions outstanding for this topic before we go into the next one? I think I've responded to all of them. Awesome. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk now about another feature in ParentSquare, which is our calendar events. Now, in ParentSquare, when you go on to creating a post, and this post is about an event that you don't want your parents to miss out on, or staff, or students, it is a great idea to add this calendar entry RSVP add-on. It's for a few reasons. And mostly is to make the experience a lot easier for your parents or users to have that into their personal calendar, or for you, as far as RSVPing goes, you can know how many people to expect to a specific event. So super easy to add to your post. Here we have a post draft, and on the left-hand side, we see all of our awesome power-ups or add-ons in ParentSquare. You just select calendar entry RSVP, and that will generate this calendar entry at the bottom of your post where you will just have to fill in the date and time, and you can do the time or the end time if you need to. So I'm just going to click in this calendar entry box, and then you select the time. You do the start time. If it's an all-day type of event, you can check this box. And if it's not, you can add an end time for your event. Now, you can also set this as a repeated event. You can schedule it to repeat daily, weekly, or monthly. And you can also send a reminder to those that need the notification reminder, and it's going to be sent 1, 2, or 3 days before the event. You pick the reminder notification setting. And then you also have here the request RSVP option. This is if you want users to RSVP. This is entirely optional. So this is what it looks like if you do want folks to RSVP. You just check the box, and then if you want to limit how many people can RSVP for this, and then if you want to allow users to indicate if you're bringing any kids, how many kids are you bringing, okay? So that will allow you to do that. And then when ready, just like with any post, you can go ahead and select the Post Now options. Now here, we have the user's view of how they can RSVP for a specific event. It'll show up here at the top of the post, and then they can select yes or no, and then that count will be added to these sections here. Folks can even add a note for you. Here is going to show up next to their name. And you can also see that notes will be public for other users to see, to just be aware of that. Now, just like we saw in the appointment signups option, you can message people who RSVP'd, so you can get the information only to those that need the information and not everyone, or to those that are not even attending. So you can go ahead and message them that way. Here is the parent view or the user view of how they can RSVP. When they get the notification, they can see here the RSVP button where they can go ahead and click on that, and then they will be directed to go ahead and RSVP. And it's just a matter of selecting one of these two options. I also mentioned that adding a calendar entry to your post whenever there's an event going on, it'll make it a lot easier for users to add it to their own personal events calendar. So whenever there's a calendar entry, you will see the date and time that you specified for the event at the top. They can click on the drop-down arrow and select which app they use for their personal calendar to add it to it. So super useful and handy to have there in ParentSquare. Now, as with signups, you will get that pretty handy activity log to know how many folks are attending and who are attending, who RSVP'd, to know how many people you should expect. All right, just taking a look at our Q&A one more time before we move on. So that was our calendar entry RSVP add-on. Another way that you can add events to ParentSquare is directly in the calendar. If you notice on the left-hand side under your resources category, you have the calendar option. You can go ahead and select that to open the calendar for your groups, for your classroom, for your school, or for the entire district. Now, if you create a post with the calendar event add-on, that will automatically be included in the calendar. However, you are also able to add events manually to the calendar. So this is a great way to just keep your calendar updated with everything going on and any reminders. Keep parents in the know of, what's happening each day of the week, or, in a monthly basis here, and without having to write a post every single time. You can simply go to the calendar and select the date where you want to add that event. And you're just going to complete the details as any event for, your calendar. You're going to specify who should see this event in the calendar. So you're not getting a post, they're not getting a notification. Just whenever they go to the calendar, which group or class will see this in the calendar. So this is where you go ahead and specify the audience there, what the name of the event is, and then the details as far as the time and the end time, or if it's an all-day event. If this is something that repeats, you can set the repeating schedule. If you want to send a reminder for your audiences whenever that time is getting close, you can go ahead and complete these calendar entries details and then hit submit. Like I said, they won't get a notification whenever you create this event, but it'll just live in the calendar for people to kind of be aware of what's going on whenever they visit that calendar area. Now, another neat thing that you can do in ParentSquare is subscribe to it. Subscribe to the ParentSquare calendar. I personally don't go to ParentSquare every time I need to know if something's happening, right? I typically go to my Outlook calendar. Well, you can have both calendars in Outlook. You can simply click subscribe and it'll download your calendar so you can load it into your Outlook calendar. So you can see what's going on in ParentSquare and whatever you have going on in Outlook all in the same app without having to go to ParentSquare. So this is a great tool that if you happen to be in that same situation as I am, you can go ahead and subscribe and have both calendars in Outlook. Super cool. All right, so now we've come to the end of our session and we're gonna visit that Q&A one more time, but this is a great opportunity for you to kind of try out both resources or both tools we learn about today. The appointment sign up, if you want to continue creating one, or if you didn't have a chance of creating one as I was going through it, you can go ahead and, complete the steps of doing one. Or if you want to try out the calendar entry RSVP, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to go into the group and visit some of the, posts that are already there and kind of see the end user experience, the parent experience, you can try it out that way, sign up for a couple of slots or download the calendar entry RSVP in some of the events. You can see that as well during this time. Of course, if you have questions, feel free to post them in that Q&A. How do we leave the group? That's a great question. And I know it's super annoying to get all the notifications, all the, everything that's going on in the group. It is a pretty large group. So what I do at the end of our trainings, I just remove everyone from the group. So no one gets bothered with any notifications. So I will go through that after we're done here today. So just because I do not want you to be annoyed by all the notifications. Okay, I think we have the names. Yes, I think some of these I already responded to, but I didn't hit that option to make it disappear. Okay, so I'm gonna be here hanging out, answering any questions. If you have any, go ahead and play around in ParentSquare, add stuff to that group. Let me take a look at what's going on there. Beautiful. Ooh, we have one that's having the sign up and the RSVP. So we're grouping everything we learned here in a single post. Awesome. So yeah, you can go ahead and mix and match with your power-ups or add-ons. I can go ahead and sign up for this appointment slot. And at the same time, hey, yes, I will attend. I'll RSVP to make sure that they know I will come. Perfect. Great job, everyone. I see that we're using graphics, that we're including details in the body of our message. Nice. Thank you for attending this session. I know we're all excited to use this add-on, the appointment signups. Time's coming where we need it. Oh, I think there was one specific question I didn't talk about here. When adding a date below, do we have to add each time individually? So yes, if you're going to edit the post and add that new date, it'll just create the option for you to start creating those task fields. So yeah, if you are, you know, if you just publish your post, no one has signed up for it, or just a couple that you can go ahead and manually add them to those, signups because you need to make significant changes, I would just delete that post and start all over again and just add those, users to those time slots. But if you want to add a new date or a couple of days with like 10 time slots, it's going to be quite a bit of work. So maybe kind of give it some thought as far as, if you want to start from scratch or you want to edit. That's why it's an important first step. Gather your details. Think of what you want to have available for signups before you go and create them, because it'll be a huge difference, especially if you need to make major changes down the road because you missed something or you didn't plan accordingly. This one I already addressed. Okay, so before we run out of any time, I want to just show you where we can find help if we need to get some resources. Of course, we'll have this PowerPoint available to you so you can follow all the step-by-steps. And even though I didn't show them here, there are some step-by-step instructions of how to create your appointment signups. I just wanted to go live to kind of cover some of the important details as you were working as well with me. But if you have questions about ParentSquare, you can also find some great resources on our FCS for Kids website. Just go to staff, go to the Tech Help Center, and there'll be an area dedicated for ParentSquare there. And as always, I want to thank you for, picking this session. And I hope you enjoyed our time together here. I know it's a particularly new format, kind of weird, right? I don't know what's going on in the room. I don't see the presenter in the room, but we had to cover a lot of sites, and I can't yet find the, way of cloning myself. So this will do. This will do. Microsoft Teams, great resource to broadcast to multiple sites. You don't have to complete the survey. You do not need to complete this survey. Just there is a specific survey for today's PD at the end of today where you will provide all the feedback and go through that survey then. So just disregard this last message, but I do want to thank you again for joining here me today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Have my contact info here. And enjoy the rest of your PD day. Thank you, and until next time.